For decades, global attention has fixated on the Strait of Hormuz as the world's most dangerous energy choke point. But far from the crowded shipping lanes, a different route has been quietly taking shape, one that doesn't rely on the sea at all.
In April 2026, the long simmering conflict between the United States and Iran escalated into a full-scale maritime crisis. Washington deployed a naval fleet to the Strait of Hormuz, effectively sealing off the region's most critical energy choke point. The blockade had a specific financial target. By shutting down the sea lanes, the U.S. intended to starve the Iranian economy of its oil exports, cutting off an estimated $400 million in daily revenue. But choking a global waterway creates immediate collateral damage. Pakistan suddenly found itself as an unintended victim, with over 3,000 shipping containers bound for Iran trapped indefinitely at the port of Karachi. For Islamabad, the disruption turned into a domestic emergency. The closure of the strait threatened to spike Pakistan's monthly oil import bill by $600 million. For an economy already struggling with debt, the prospect of fuel shortages and hyperinflation was becoming a reality. The naval wall meant to isolate Tehran was instead dragging Islamabad toward economic collapse. To save its own economy, Pakistan was forced to find a way through that wall. On April 25th, the Pakistani Ministry of Commerce issued the Transit of Goods Order 2026. It was a sudden, legally binding move that fundamentally changed the logistics of the conflict. The order activated 6 overland corridors. Instead of relying on the blockaded sea, cargo could now move by truck from Pakistani ports through Balochistan. The Gwadar-Gabd bypass is the most efficient of these, reaching the Iranian border in just 3 hours, a journey that previously took 18. Providing a trade lifeline to a blockaded nation typically triggers secondary sanctions from the U.S. Treasury. Yet, despite this direct challenge to Washington's maximum pressure campaign, there was no immediate retaliation against Pakistan. This lack of response stems from a strategic complication. While Pakistani bureaucrats were opening the land routes to Iran, their colleagues in the capital were simultaneously hosting high-level peace delegations from both Washington and Tehran. To navigate the risk of sanctions, Pakistan used a specific legal framework. The transit order is carefully worded to avoid Iranian oil and gas. It only permits general cargo, food, and medicine from third countries. Pakistan exchanges its textiles and rice directly for Russian and Iranian energy products, bypassing traditional purchases. This system functions entirely without hard currency. By trading goods for goods, the cycle completely avoids the US dollar and international banking systems used to enforce sanctions. Islamabad refers to this as constructive ambiguity. On paper, it is a humanitarian effort to clear stranded containers. In practice, it allows trade to continue despite the U.S. naval presence. Pakistan's primary defense against sanctions is its role as a mediator. Islamabad currently holds the only active diplomatic channel where American and Iranian delegations are willing to meet face-to-face. There are also broader regional interests. China is invested in keeping the Gwadar port operational as the centerpiece of its multi-billion-dollar economic corridor, providing international support for Pakistan's trade policies. This places Washington in a difficult position. Punishing Pakistan for the trade corridors would mean losing the only credible venue for the peace talks that could end the conflict. The relationship between the two countries has shifted significantly. In 2018, the White House accused Islamabad of lies and deceit. Today, top-level military coordination has been restored, with Washington publicly praising Pakistan's diplomatic assistance. Beyond the diplomacy, this crisis has forced a permanent change in the region's geography. The overland bypass has essentially created a land bridge connecting the Arabian Sea to Central Asia. The most visible sign of this shift is the revival of the Iran-Pakistan gas pipeline. After years of stagnation due to sanction threats, workers are now actively welding the infrastructure intended to secure Pakistan's energy future. Regardless of the outcome of the peace talks, the crisis has proven that supply chains can be rerouted to operate independently of the Strait of Hormuz. But this maneuver carries extreme risk. U.S. secondary sanctions are discretionary. They do not require a new law to be enacted, only an administrative decision by the Treasury Department. This technical data illustrates how little room for error Pakistan has. With foreign reserves covering less than 3 months of imports, the economy remains highly vulnerable to any sudden loss of international support or financial penalties. Pakistan has used its position as a facilitator for peace to protect its own trade interests. However, their survival still rests on a fragile balance: the continued tolerance of the very power whose blockade they are helping to bypass.